running your way. And then I think about myself when I stayed. I'm a pretty boss, hook on my shit brain waves. I'm a freak in the sheets, I got class. I'ma grab an ass if you want it. Best you ever had, give it to you, man. Ooh.
Welcome to the Fluid Vista review, guys. This is dubbed as the ultimate commuter scooter, so we're gonna simulate our commute today. I think this scooter cruises just fast enough to go on a road like this, 25-mile-an-hour road. You can see there's nobody behind us right now, but we'll see how the cars act. This is obviously a bike-friendly town. We have this big bike lane symbol in the road. Decent traction, 30 on the dash. I think what Fluid is going for in this scooter is a pretty sweet idea, where the ultimate commuter, meaning to get you there quick. It's got solid tires. What other boxes do you need to check to be the ultimate commuter? Well, you need it to be quick enough to go on a 25-mile-an-hour road. But we will stay on the right-hand side. A lot of commuter scooters, you're going to want to be aware of who's coming behind you. And they're not even really catching up on us here. Just turned 200-something miles, 216 miles on this right now. Go over in a little bit here after we make our commute and talk about this scooter a bit. One thing that is very important about these tires to know when you get it, and the same thing with other scooters I've tried with very similar tires, with semi-hybrid, off-road, solid tires. A little bit knobby, and when you first get them, they're almost a little bit slippery. And you notice after about 40-50 miles, you break them in a little bit, and the ride gets much, much better. When you get this scooter, you gotta have a little faith, do a little break-in period on the tires. And that's kind of my opinion on solid tires anymore, is that you do need a little bit of a break-in period. Easily holding this 35 on the dash. All right, that's plenty of speed, probably around 32 real-life GPS right now. We did do a top speed test on this.
Yep, 32.
It's plenty fast. It's plenty fast for the price range. It's competitive with every other scooter in this price range. It's taking this off-road, a bunch of different jumps and things. See if it can make it. Woo! This thing runs really smooth and it doesn't rattle. It doesn't have a lot of that crap that I don't like about solid tires. Is that there's usually just terrible traction, very slippery, rattly, right? Terrible suspension. This is the opposite. Suspension is very nice, quiet. That's pretty damn good. If you know anything about solid tires, it's about as good as it's gonna get. This thing can make it through any sort of terrain in the commute, any sort of trail or bike path or road. Woo! It's plenty quick that it's fun, but it's really quick for a purpose. Alright guys, we made it. We're not totally far off from where I used to work, but maybe 3 miles. It says right now 75% remaining. The Fluid Vista is, I think after the Fluid Mosquito, is their second flagship scooter now. Designed by Fluid Freeride. If you guys don't know, Fluid Freeride is an American retailer based out of Miami. They've been selling scooters for a long time. A lot of different brands like Nami, Cabo, a lot of high-end scooters, a lot of different entry-level scooters as well. They started designing these new proprietary ones. This is a much more beefy commuter model here versus the Mosquito is an entry-level model, very lightweight. What the Vista has going for it, solid tires, dual suspension, beefy build, right? It's definitely made for a big person. A full-grown man can buy this and enjoy it. I think a lot of scooters these days are very undermade to the point where they're basically for children, teenagers, or very small people. This is not one of those scooters. Have enough foot room with this, even without a rear footrest. So I think obviously it has this thing here that it uses when you fold. It is not comfortable to stand on that at all. I've tried several different ways. I think that on this scooter, your best option is to stand like this. One foot like this, other foot like this. That's typically how you ride a lot of smaller entry-level scooters that do not have the footrest. This is not a scooter about racing and speed anyway, so it's not about the footrest. This scooter gets you from point A to point B. It gets you there quick, and that's why this is the ultimate commuter. You're not going to get flats. You have the solid tires here that even after they wear in a bit, they still have some give. They're sort of grippier than any other solid tires I've ever experienced. The Evercross H5 has similar tires to this, but I don't think they're even as grippy. I don't think they're quite the same tire. I'll have to double check on all that. The brakes are mechanical. They are not hydraulic, which is okay because this is also pretty heavy. E-braking on this. I think I've tightened this rear brake one time. Front brake I haven't tightened at all. It's a drum brake. Drum in the front, this in the back. That is low maintenance as it gets. You'll have to tighten them every so often. Definitely for a commuter, it's what you want. We do need to talk about a couple small complaints I have with it, mainly being there's a bit of looseness in this rear end here, and I think maybe that these bolts in here just aren't quite the right size. So you can hear that sort of clankingness to it. I did end up tightening down this to give it a bit more preload on the shock, and that ended up tightening this up a bit. It was having some speed wobbles and different things. I think if you have this too loose, your rear end is going to be very wobbly. You do want to keep that a bit tighter. I think on this scooter it definitely improved the ride when I tightened that. Other than that small bit of rattly rear end there, I don't have a lot of other complaints about the scooter, to be honest. The ride's good, and in general I think a lot of you will be happy with it. You need to go into it realizing it's a commuter scooter, right? You're not buying this to race. You're not buying this so much to get adrenaline. You're buying it to get to work. You get to work reliably and get home and save money and not like have a huge pain in the ass, right? You don't want to like buy a scooter and then it creates more headaches than it's actually worth. You want it to be something that actually saves you time, saves you money, makes your life more efficient, and makes you happier, right? You don't want something that stresses you out. Never. I think in general, this is one of those scooters that will be pretty stress-free. You have a American retailer, right? A U.S. retailer and Fluid Freeride that you can call. You can badge them, you can get parts, you can do whatever you need to do. Versus having some random company on Amazon, it's a lot harder to get what you need. Say something hits the fan and you need a part, it's a lot harder to get a hold of people on Amazon than it is from somebody that has a Google Maps and a website and all that. I do think from that standpoint, it's a safe buy. You're going to have good service, at least above average, right? I'm not going to say Fluid Freeride is number one. I do think that they're good though, and you'll be at least happy, and the scooter will do well. I think in my experience here with this scooter, there is just a consistent, strong power. This scooter seems to not die. As you get later in the battery, even down to 30% or so, you're still reaching pretty high speeds, which is important for a commuter as well, because you're going to get all that mileage that you need. Speaking of the mileage, I did only get about 16, 17 miles on my range test on this. The way I usually do the range test is called a minimum range test, where I max out the settings on the scooter, gear 3 top gear, max settings, and then I drive as fast as I can, as long as I can until the scooter dies. This one took about roughly 45, 50 minutes. I made it about 17 miles. I'm 180 pounds. If you're heavier than me, you'll get less than that. If you're lighter than me, you'll get more than that. About 17 miles for me. Anybody within 10 miles of their work or their destination, their school, 10-mile commute each way is realistic with this if you can charge in between. If you can't charge in between, you're looking more at 5 miles each way, I think, realistically. Maybe 6 or 7, but then you're pushing it. A lot of you guys with longer commutes, you still need more scooter, but this is going to cover everybody within that, 7 miles and down commute. This is a good scooter for you. Hopefully that math makes sense to you. I think the screen on this is good. Could be a little brighter in the daylight. It's hard to read. I do squint at it sometimes. Grips are nice. We'll start going everything here real quick. Blinker. I like this button on this. Nice switch. Horn. Bell. It's nice to have both a horn and a bell, because when you're on the bike path, obviously you want to use the bell. If you're in the road or anything, you want to use the horn. It's nice to have an option. And the thumb throttle here has the built-in power button as well. To hold that for like a second to turn the scooter on, hold it, turn it off. You can tap it, turns on your headlight on and off as well, which it's very bright now. The headlight does work all right at night. I've used it a couple times to ride with the scooter. Moving down a bit, we've got the folding mechanism here. It does have a little safety notch here. You push that in, pull back, boom, scooter folds. Clicks in like that. Now we're lifting it. This is about a 60-pound scooter. It's heavy. You do not want to be carrying it up flights and flights of stairs, but I do think for a normal person you can carry it up several stairs, no problem. Get it back up, push that button, latch that in, put that back on, boom, scooter is secured. So it is quick folding, easy folding, secure folding. Don't have any problem with the folding on this. I'm happy with the front forks. They have altogether a quality ride. I think even for these solid tires, they do a great job. And there is some kind of adjustable preload thing here, but I haven't really touched that. Scooter does have blinkers, both front and rear. We can talk about that. Flash an image up at night here. You can see what they really look like at night. Obviously, they're best at night. Fluid free ride badge right here. Get some measurements for the deck for you here. This is a pretty spacious deck for a commuter scooter. You can compare it with the other scooters like the Cabo Mantis Lite and the Synergy Aviator in my garage right now, and the Unagi. Obviously, they're all the same price. This definitely has the biggest deck of all of them. So from that standpoint, you do have plenty of space with this one compared to the competitors. All in all, I think it's a great package. I do wish that it had 2 charging ports. You could speed things up. It's have 2 chargers if you had them at work and you need to charge it quickly or for whatever reason, but 1 charger should be enough. You can obviously get a fast charger, a 4 or 5 amp charger, and charge it up real quick.